Hey everyone! It's been a while since I filmed one of these, and I just thought that it's about time because I rarely just sit down and talk to you guys. And there's just been a lot of changes in my life that's happened in 2018, and I'm always vlogging, but in the vlogs, you only get to see but so much. It's not like a real in-depth life update. So I decided that today I just want to go through some of the changes that's happened in my life in 2018 because it's been a lot and I can't believe the year is almost over. But I'm actually kind of ready for 2018 to end and just kind of start fresh in 2019. I'm at a good space now, but I think a lot of people pointed out in the vlogs a few months back. It was just a really challenging few months, and I didn't go super into detail, and I don't know if I plan to in this video, but yeah, it was just, I went through a lot of challenging things, and I'm just ready to like start the new year and bring all this like fresh, good energy into my world, if you know what I mean. So anyways, I just wrote a little list of things that I want to touch that kind of impacted me this year, and it's kind of like the highlights of 2018. And this isn't like my end of the year video because I do planning on following my series for a walk down memory lane where, you know, I just kind of recap the year. But this video, I want to really just go over everything and just like have a one-on-one heart-to-heart with you guys on just kind of like a life update. So there's quite a few things that I want to talk about, so let's just jump right in. So one big thing that happened recently was that I got Lasik done. And if you guys aren't familiar with that, it's pretty much an eye procedure that fixes your vision. So I've been wearing glasses for about 4 years, I want to say. And I didn't always have bad vision. And even when I needed glasses, I would say it was like a 0.1, something really small. And even though it sounded like my vision was not that bad, it didn't feel that way, especially when it got darker out and I was driving. It was actually really scary because I would just forget to bring my glasses a lot of the times, and it was just bad. But anyways, I grew up with like 20/20 vision, and my eyesight was like perfect. And it's funny because back in the day, I always wanted to have bad vision so that I could wear glasses because I thought glasses were super cute, and they are. But you know, later in my life, I would find out that it's quite tedious if you're kind of forgetful like I am. So anyways, I believe that my eyesight started to kind of decline when I started getting really serious with YouTube. And a really bad habit that I would do is like lay in my bed. I would have the laptop on my chest and I'd just be editing like with the computer really close, and it was, you know, dark in my room. And I remember my mom always telling me to turn the light off and that it's bad to be on the computer in the dark, and, you know, I'm gonna ruin my eyesight. And I just would never listen to her, and I never would believe that would happen. But anyways, fast forward years later, that's what happened. So I guess the lesson really is to listen to your mom. But yeah, so that's pretty much the start of how my vision kind of started to get worse and worse. So eventually I needed glasses, and it was really fun in the beginning and I loved it. But, you know, like I mentioned, it got old real quick. Anyways, I decided to get LASIK. I got it done in Newport Beach. My doctor was Dr. Feinerman, and he is honestly amazing. He's like super cool and has a spunky personality. So through the whole procedure, he was just talking to me, like having a normal conversation. So it would just like make me feel more calm because I was a little bit anxious, even though I've heard from numerous people that it's painless. When you're like actually in the seat, you're just, you know, a little bit nervous and shooken up by like what's about to happen, thinking about a laser kind of like touching your eyeball, or I really didn't know how exactly the procedure was going to go down. So he was super great, and I really think that LASIK was the best decision I've ever made, and I'm so glad that I didn't wait to get it, because I always thought, well, my eyes are, still developing, but I think you're allowed to get LASIK twice in your life. And if my eyes got bad, maybe like in my 50s or 60s, I'll just get it done one more time. But I feel like this is my prime years of living and enjoying life, and I just want to be able to see like HD clear, and I'm so glad I did it, and the results are immediate, and the procedure itself took like 2 minutes per eye. It was so quick, and it is painless. It's just you feel a lot of pressure from the machine kind of going down on your face, but it just sounds a lot scarier than it really is. It's honestly a piece of cake. So if you're someone who's been considering LASIK, I highly recommend it. And Dr. Feinerman was amazing. So if you are in the LA area or OC, I'll list his info down below and you can check him out. One huge change this year was that my parents retired. And if you guys watch all my vlogs, then you probably already know that, but I couldn't make this video without mentioning it because it's such a highlight in 2018. I mean, like, this is something that I've dreamed about for years, just like having my parents retire and finally just living the life they never got to live, because my parents immigrated from Korea and my dad had like zero money. I mean, it was really hard for them, and their entire life was just working, trying out a new business, failing, and then had Robin and I, and after making a decent amount of money, it was now going towards me and my sister. So their whole life has just been constant work and giving, and I just couldn't wait for the day for them to sell the gas station that they've had for over a decade. I think it was 15 years. The gas station was in a really bad area. A lot of memories there, a lot of tragic memories. The store getting robbed and my dad getting shot, but thankfully coming out of it okay. And it is just a lot of memories and thoughts that flash in my mind when I heard that they were retiring. It was just like a ball of emotions. When they told me that the store finally sold, it was like a great week. Like, I told myself, no matter how stressed out or upset I am about something, like, all I can do is just think about my parents and their situation, and immediately I can be happy again. Or I feel like I just had this natural glow in me for a very long time when I found that out. So that's a huge change in 2018. I'll never forget this year. So many things happened, and like that had to be the highlight, the biggest thing of them all, because they're just living life right now. Like, my parents are currently in Korea. They went, I believe, last month, and they're going to be there until the end of December. So this will be the very first year that Robin and I and Andy won't be flying to Virginia for Christmas. Normally we all spend it together. It'll mainly be me, Robin, my parents, Andy, his mom, and we'll have Christmas at my place. But Andy's mom actually moved to Korea about 2 years ago, and now my parents are having vacation in Korea. So everyone's in Korea and just left all of us here in LA. But even though it's kind of sad that I won't be spending Christmas with them, because it's like the first Christmas ever in my life that I'm apart from them, I'm just so happy that they're there and that they're with their family, and it just brings me so much joy. So when they get back from Christmas, they're actually going on a 11-day cruise. And I was like, okay, Mom, I see you, like, booking trips back to back. It's so funny. Like, it's just a different side of them, and it's super cool to see them like explore and do the things that they've always wanted to do, without any stress about the store or about just anything. So I'm like super grateful for them retiring and just like being able to do what they want to do. But side note, I think it's so funny how when my mom is in Virginia, just on a day to day, like if I don't call her, maybe once every 2 days, she'll call me and be like, "Oh, you're just too busy for me now." And then she's always giving me shit. And now that she's in Korea, I literally do not hear from her. And she's normally blowing me up or like, accusing me of being too busy or not caring about her, whatever. But I swear I've probably gotten like one call from her. If we're talking, it's because I'm hitting her up and I'm calling my aunt to FaceTime her. So you can tell she just ain't worried about me. But it's okay. She's been worrying about me for the past 26 years, so I'm gonna let her have this moment. So since we're talking about really big changes, like what can top my parents retiring, but this next thing right here isn't as big as that, but it's pretty darn big. I still can't believe. Okay, let me just say it. As most of you know, I have had Leo, my little baby, for 5 years. And back when I got him, to be honest, I wasn't really a dog person. I had Donatello, which was the all-white Maltese, and a lot of you always ask about him, and he's doing amazing. He doesn't live in California now. He lives in Virginia with Elena's mom, which is our best friend's mom. And Elena is a good friend of ours, a childhood friend who used to live in LA, and we all got Donatello together. But then Elena got into a really big accident and she moved back to Virginia. And for comfort and just to like keep her happy, we decided to let her take Donatello. So Donatello has been in Virginia for a very long time and he is so happy. He has like a big yard and just a really great life out there. So anyways, but besides, Donatello, Leo has been my baby for 5 years. And like I mentioned back then, I wasn't really a dog person and I didn't educate myself about breeders and I had no interest in adopting. And I feel like for the longest time, I kind of was afraid to talk about this because I've changed so much, and thinking about like how I used to be, I'm kind of not embarrassed, but I'm not like super proud of it. However, it was a moment in my life and I was a completely different person 5 years ago. And so it's natural to grow up and change and be more educated, be more aware, all of these things. And so I now want to just freely talk about like what's been on my mind as far as like, having Leo. I mean, I love him so much. He is my son. But yeah, I got him from a breeder in K-Town, and it's crazy to think like there was a lot more stores in LA where they would just sell puppies and, cute little small toy poodles or what have you. But now it's great to see that a lot of those shops have been closed down because it's just not right. Like I went to the shelter for the first time, like an actual real shelter, last week, and it was eye-opening. So eye-opening. We fed 200 plus dogs, and to see so many dogs in these cages, like all sorts of different types of breeds who just look at you with this pain. And people are over here shopping for dogs like their accessories when there's like real animals that need help, and you could change their lives. I just feel a lot more passion for rescues and wanting to involve myself more and being an advocate for that. So anyways, I know I'm dragging this out, but never in my life did I think I would adopt, or I had no intention of getting another dog. And then one day I'm driving. This was early October is when this happened. But I'm driving my car. I'm close to home, but I am on a street where it's like, I think the speed limit's like 35, 40. So even though it's slower than obviously the freeway, but when you're going, it's still pretty fast. This husky ran in front of my car and I just slammed the brakes so hard. When like you slam the brakes and the wheels are still kind of going? That's how it was. So it's like, skirt. And I just like felt the impact of my brake, and I thought that impact was from me hitting her. And it was like a movie scene where I like kind of, my hair like flicked back and I look at Silas and I'm just like frozen, knowing that I ran this dog over. And I was shaking, and out of nowhere, like maybe 5 seconds later, I see her head pop out and she kind of like looks at me like this. Like, honestly, I'll never forget this moment, because it replays in my head, and like this image of her now, it's quite funny, but it's at the moment I'm just like, oh my god, what is going on? Like, she literally like hopped up like this and her eyes just stared at me, and then she booked it. And so for me, it was like a relief, like, oh my god, she's alive. I don't know if I hit her, I don't know if she's hurt, but like, thank god she is moving. And so, long story short, we were looking for her, couldn't find her. And out of nowhere, Silas was able to see like her head just kind of pop out while we're driving looking for her. And then we like found her and we took her to our house and we put her in the backyard. And the whole process of from when Luna came into my home till now has been insane. There were so many things that happened during that time. It was just very chaotic. One being that right when she got here, we thought that we would just like have her for a few days and then her previous owners would reach out or something, but it wasn't that wasn't happening. And then 2 days of her sleeping, like actually sleeping at the house, Silas was working on a project at the time where he had to go to New York for a week. And for me, that was really scary because I wasn't used to a bigger dog in my home. And on top of that, being that she's a husky. I knew nothing about huskies, their temperament, anything, you know? So when he had to go, the icing on top was that the week that he had to be gone turned into a month. So his work just kept getting dragged out. So I was pretty much with Luna for a month until Silas came back, which a lot of you know, talked about him not being in the vlogs. He was really traveling for a month, working in New York. And even though I have Robin is super busy, and she, not saying that I'm not busy, but I'm working from home. I'm home most of the time, whereas Robin's like out the door by 8:30 and not coming home till 7. So that gave me a lot of time to spend with Luna. And in the beginning, it was really challenging because, you know, she was 10 months old, still had that puppy energy, and I didn't know her like that. So there would be moments where she'd come up to me or do something and maybe is a little more, not aggressive, but higher energy. And sometimes like her eyes would change colors and turn red, and she would look really like intimidating. And so sometimes I would see her look at me from across the room and just like have this stare. And I know this sounds silly, but I would be genuinely scared sometimes. I'm like, oh my God, like, would she try to hurt me? Would she do anything to me? Like, it was such a different experience. I'm only used to having small little dogs, and so I didn't know how to act. And slowly, you know, 1 week turned into 2 weeks, 2 weeks turned into 3, and I started to like get to know her personality and be more confident in that I'm taking care of her, try to talk myself up, make myself more confident, because I was very insecure when I was around her. I mean, like I didn't leave the house for a month because I had so much anxiety. And I know I'm like, this sounds very traumatizing, but there was obviously a part of me in my heart that made a connection with her and loved her. But there was still this like extra stuff that I just had to get over, and that just takes time. So eventually, during the time while Silas was gone and Robin was working, and I pretty much spent an entire month in the house, rarely went out. My life was like fully devoted to taking care of her and being around her and learning things about her. I would say it was one of the most challenging months because I was also going through like personal things, but I also was, during that time, I was able to fill the void and the negativity with love that I was receiving from her. Our bond just grew so much that I tried to go about it thinking like I'm just fostering her for now. I'm not like gonna say she's mine yet. I just want to see how it goes because, I didn't know what would happen. But after the days went by, thinking about giving her up, I would just be sobbing in my bed. Like I had so many talks with Robin about keeping her or not keeping her because my heart knew that I wanted to keep her, but I just had a lot of people kind of hitting me with the reality, and I just was so unsure if I could do it. But thank God I did, because she has brought such a light into my life, and it's the kind of love that I never thought I would feel. I mean, I just never had the urge to get another dog because I wanted to travel, I wanted to focus on my work, and having Leo already was a lot, so I thought. And I just didn't want to add on to that, but she has taught me so much. I've learned how to be patient, independent, stronger. She's made me want to be out in nature more and go on hikes, and I do all these things and I enjoy them, but mainly I get the most joy out of seeing her in her element, having a good time, running around, being in the water. It brings me so much happiness. I can't even put it into words. So she is such a huge change. I never thought I would have another dog. And on top of that, a husky. I really think that it's fate that brought us together. I mean, there were so many moments where I felt like I couldn't keep her, but one thing after another, like all this stuff started happening while I was taking care of her, where I knew like, oh my God, I can't give you up. Like not after all of this. And now knowing like where she came from and like how she was mistreated before, it made me want to love her even more and give her a really good life. I now officially am a husky owner, and I know so much about huskies more than I ever thought I would ever know. I took the necessary steps to educate myself before I became a parent to her because I didn't want to go into it naive. Like if I want to have her, I need to know like what their temperament is like. They're known to like escape, so I got to keep an eye on our backyard, or just like anything and everything I wanted to know so I could provide like the best life for her. But currently she's not here. I know you guys are probably wondering like, where is she? She is in training. Leo actually just got back on Sunday. He was gone for a week, and Luna is doing a total of 2 weeks. So she has one more week left. I'm supposed to pick her up on Sunday, but I'm actually going to Big Bear this Saturday because like I mentioned, my parents are in Korea. So me, Silas, Andy, and our friend Chi, we're going to go to Big Bear. And mainly I want to go because I want to see Luna in the snow, and I want to see her in her element, and I want her to play around and just like really have a good time. I think it's going to be like the best Christmas to see her in action. So to conclude all of this, I'm just really grateful to have gone through this experience of like almost running her over and killing her, to finding her, and then having her previous owners reach out to me, as well as the previous owners' kids. They found me through YouTube, and they told me about their father and how he raised Luna and her 2 siblings horribly, and they pretty much grew up in a really small like playpen. They didn't get exercise. Huskies are working dogs, so if you're not putting them to work and if they're not getting that exercise that they need, it's going to resort to aggression and fighting, and they all had parasites. I mean, she had parasites when I first had her, and then now she doesn't, but it was just like a horrible situation that she was in. And I'm just, after knowing about that and then going through like crazy life shit that was really fucking hard at the time, and she was like the one piece of light that I had that made my day, that made me want to get up and like do things with her, go hiking, and like when all I wanted to do was like cry in bed, you know? She just came at such a crazy time in my life where she's exactly what I needed. And I feel like for her, she could talk, she would say the same thing. She is such a happy dog. And the love that she shows me is, I know that's her telling me that she's so happy and that she's grateful to have me as well. So, or that's what I like to think. I'm so excited to have her a part of the family and to have you guys get to know her more as well, because she's like my angel. Moving on, I just kind of want to quickly touch on like a portion of this year where it was really hard for me and I was going through like just life shit. You guys ask me, or when I have friends who come to me with this sort of thing, or when they go through like challenging stuff, it's so easy to preach that stuff and give them advice and give them hope and like tell them keep going and it's gonna be okay. But like when you're going through shit and you already know what you need to do, it's hard to do it. And most of the time you're just like, you can't. And that was me. Like, even though I have a good head on my shoulders, I am a really big thinker, and I tried to get myself out of this funk. It was hard, and like you guys could see it in the vlogs. I would read the comments and people just pointing out, asking if I'm okay, or they hope that whatever I'm going through passes, and all these really sweet comments. But when you're in the situation and when you're going through things, it's hard to receive that stuff. For me especially, I can't speak for everyone, but I was just in a dark place. And on top of that, you know, I can't like sit here and excuse my work because I'm feeling a certain type of way. I'm not comparing careers because I'm so blessed, but honestly, for other types of jobs, when you're going through personal things, you can escape that. Just like go into work. Obviously, you're not feeling well, but you don't have to like put on a show. And not that I was putting on a show, but like I knew I still need to work. I can't excuse myself and take a break just because I'm going through things, because I treat this just like any other job, except that it's, for me, it's like my dream job. I would vlog during that time, but even though I wasn't feeling 100, I also didn't want to not vlog, but then I didn't want to sit here and vlog and be all bubbly and happy and fake my emotions. So I was just like kind of in between, you know. I would just do my day-to-day thing, and I would talk briefly about like me not really doing well. And I appreciate all of you who were concerned and all of your comments and stuff. Now I'm in a much better place, but it was hard. And those few months of this year was like eye-opening. Through this process, I learned just that having solitude is okay. And it's like actually what I prefer. I mean, it's good to get out and like be with your friends and like get your mind off of problems, but for me that's just masking what's really there. If I want to deal with what I'm dealing with and not try to like take the easy way. And I'm not saying not to hang out with your friends and do things that are good for you, because all of that is good, but also I didn't want to just completely run away from what I was like facing. Also having Luna, where I really couldn't leave the house because I didn't know what the setup was to like leave her at home or how she would act, or Leo has really bad anxiety when I leave, so I didn't want that to like transfer to her when she grew up. So it was a lot of things, but all of it was a learning process. And I guess I just want to say, when you're going through things, or if any of you guys are currently going through things, just know like you're not alone. And even me, I'm sure some of you may think I have just this picture perfect, impeccable life, and I am just a normal human being, and I go through highs and I go through rock bottom lows just like everyone else, you know. And it takes a lot of gut to face what you're going through, and you may be going through it thinking that you'll never get out of it, but you will. And you just have to be strong and be hopeful and spend time to yourself, but also don't isolate yourself. But I just think that it's great to be able to reflect, and being in solitude really did that for me. I was able to reflect on so many things on so many levels. And sometimes I feel like if I don't go through lows, I don't appreciate when things are going so great. I take it for granted. Because of that period in my life, when I am just content with things that are going on, I'm like a lot more excited and happy about things. And I think I lost that for a while. Like everything was just like so good for a while. You just kind of feel like, oh, another day. But now I'm just like, there's nothing wrong with me right now. There's nothing crazy going on in my life. Like, it's a celebration. So it's like, really, what doesn't kill you will make you stronger. And I'm a testament of that. And I am in a much better place. And I'm just like really happy about my life right now, and coming to the end of the year, being able to reflect on the entire of 2018. It's been a crazy year. I feel like a really big change for me in 2018 was just spending a lot more time alone. And that was something that I really hated to do. Naturally, when you're in a long-term relationship, you get kind of dependent on that person, or when you have best friends and you spend a lot of your downtime with them, not necessarily doing things, but just like having the company, you get dependent on that. And I was one of those people. I like constantly wanted to hang out with people or have just someone go with me to places like an errand or to get food. Like I wouldn't go unless Silas would go with me. These are just all things that was naturally embedded in me because I was doing it for so long. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but for me personally, I realized that I need to have moments to myself, and it needs to be like a good ratio of like doing me time, being happy when I'm alone, because before I would look at it as such a negative thing, but it is such a great thing. And you learn a lot about yourself, and I'm still growing, and I'm learning what kind of things that I want in my life and what I don't, and what kind of people I want in my life and who I don't, and what kind of activities I like to do on my free time. Like before Luna came into my life, I would just be at home chilling, working, or like go out a lot. And now it's like I enjoy going camping. I enjoy going hiking and being out in nature and like doing things that are good for my soul and just like being in peace, you know? I guess just for any of you out there who struggle with that, just know that it is not a bad thing. It's so healthy for you to spend time to yourself and love yourself. And for me, I look forward to those days, and I have a lot of them now. That's like been a huge thing for me this year, and I am so excited to have a lot more me time and to be able to drive out and explore places on my own, because at the end of the day, love being around my friends and family. Like, they mean so much to me. But I also know that when I am alone, I am just as happy as when I'm with them. And when you love yourself and you're content with that, then things just go up from there. That is pretty much all of the really big changes that happened in 2018, or highlights, or kind of like my life update, whatever you want to call it. But I really wanted to have a moment where I sat down with you guys and just kind of had a heart to heart. It's been a while, and I tend to like stay away from videos like this because I get really nervous. And you may think that's so strange because I vlog almost every day, but that's a different type of level. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not getting super deep in my vlogs. I mean, there's some times where I do go in about something, but on the day-to-day, it's just like showing you what's going on. And I'm not trying to make every vlog like super deep and into my thoughts. But this was really good. I really enjoyed kind of like talking about everything. It was actually very therapeutic, and I'm glad to update you guys on like the real me and what's been going on and changes that have been made and all of that stuff. So I hope that you guys didn't find this video boring. And if you did, I totally understand. But for those who did enjoy this video, thank you guys so much for tuning in, especially if you're here to the end. I really appreciate that. Yeah, that's about it, you guys. Leo's getting comfortable and ruining my bed. Thank you guys so much for watching and for all of your support throughout all these years. If you guys aren't subscribed, make sure you subscribe down below. That'd mean a lot to me. And I love you guys so much. And I will see you in the next one. Bye. Do you miss your sister? Oh.